today I have 6 events. That's right. I have 6 events today alongside Turning Point Action as ballots are now out in Arizona. We are doing 6 Super Chase events today. So I finished the show today. Then we have an event in Peoria, Glendale, Scottsdale, downtown Phoenix, South Mountain, Queen Creek, and Mesa. We are all over the valley today to try and chase ballots because it feels like election day today. I woke up today and it felt like today was election day. And it's a new feeling for those of us that are used to just voting on one day, because today is one of the election days. Every day is election day. Today, ballots are sent out in the state of Arizona, and you are going to be politely and then not so politely nagged by a Turning Point Action volunteer or employee near you to vote early. Now, many of you say, but Charlie, why are we pushing voting early so hard? I saw some YouTube video that says that if we vote early, we're going to lose. Well, let me give you a very clear example. And this should be the #1 news story in the country. The New York Times doesn't mention it. I have the New York Times right here. Not a single mention on the front page. Maybe in the later pages it's there. I'll look later. Wall Street Journal. I have it right here. Not a single mention of what should be the #1 news story. And this makes the argument for voting early and also the argument as to who the heck is in this country. This particular news story is a very, very bad news story for Kamala Harris. And there's suspicious lack of coverage from the media on this. Now, to be fair, there is a historic hurricane that's about to hit Windfall in Florida. Totally get that. But that also kind of ties into my argument as well. How many of you know or heard on any media news site or broadcast in the last 24 hours the name Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi? Anybody? Do you know who Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi is? We'll put 78 up on screen. Let me tell you about Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi. Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi is one of the tens of thousands of people that our government, both Republicans and Democrats, decided to force feed into this country after the fall of Afghanistan. Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi came here in 2021 after the collapse of Kabul. Biden and Kamala Harris let Tawhidi in on a special immigrant visa with no vetting. Remember, we were lectured by people in the Republican Party and the Democrat Party that these people were more American than we were, that we have to let in as many people as possible? Like millions of others, they just waved them in. And he's been waiting for his day in court, which of course never came. Now, what is the significance of Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi? Well, Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi was just arrested by the FBI yesterday and credits the FBI for actually doing their job for once. Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi was planning a massive terrorist attack on Election Day. That's right. Mr. Tawhidi, who came into our country thanks to our generosity and our benevolency on a special immigrant visa, receiving no vetting whatsoever, was trying to disrupt our election with a terrible and catastrophic terrorist attack. Now, the Democrats, Kamala Harris, they want as many people in the country as possible. They could claim they saved a lot of refugees. But here, Mr. Tawhidi wanted to destroy our election system and kill as many Americans as possible. So this story is important for 2 reasons. The first of which, who the heck is in our country? And why is the media not focusing on this? I'm looking at other conservative media right now, and people just kind of shrug their shoulders. The answer to that, honestly, the reason that most conservative media is not touching this story is because a lot of conservative media was lecturing us to bring in these Muslims from Afghanistan, saying they're the best people ever. Remember that? Do you remember all the lecturing? Oh, you got to bring them in. They're wonderful. They've helped us fight in Afghanistan. We don't need any vetting. And on this program, we can get back in the archives, but I don't want to waste our team's time. All the way back, we did show after show after show saying we should not allow a single Afghan refugee into this country. And boy, were we attacked. I said, okay, send them to Germany, send them to Lebanon, send them to Jordan, but don't send them to America. The only long-term outcome of our war in Afghanistan is now that millions of Afghans have moved to Europe and America. And now we're seeing the ramifications of that. How many Tawhidis are in America right now? Is there a Tawhidi in your apartment complex? Is there a Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi in your neighborhood? You see, the current regime run by Kamala Harris, as she pretends to like beer on Stephen Colbert, is allowing an unknown amount of Tawhidis into this country that could then attack our country. How many terrorist sleeper cells are in America right now? Is this by design? It makes you wonder. Who's in our country and who is not in our country? We don't know. And I want to repeat that. We don't even know who's in our own country. Joe Biden doesn't know. Kamala Harris doesn't know. The FBI doesn't know. The Department of Justice doesn't know. It's just kind of a big guess. And the Democrats don't care. You see, we're not even trying to know who's in the homeland of our country. So Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi was trying to do a terrorist attack on Election Day. And I want to say this right now. Be careful saying that you're just going to go vote on Election Day. What if there's a terrorist attack on Election Day on a polling place near you? Imagine this. Imagine in the key swing state of Pennsylvania, they plan a terrorist attack at 10 polling sites. And you guys didn't vote early. By the way, the Democrats would say, oh, too bad, so sad. That's the election. No redos. And what if we lose the country because we didn't vote early? There's a hurricane about to hit Florida. There was a snowstorm back in 2022. Machine tabulators failed in 2022. The last thing that they can do to disrupt our movement, because we are ascendant right now, the momentum is with us and not with Kamala Harris. Article after article after article is showing the Kamala Harris Democrats are increasingly nervous. What if there's an electromagnetic pulse on Election Day and all the machines fail? Well, we should have voted early, but I guess we had some weird fixation that you have to go vote on Election Day. Oh, I got to go. It's tradition. Well, tradition might lose us the country. And Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi is certainly not alone. And that's important to understand. Was this guy operating as a lone wolf? Did he have friends? Did he have colleagues that he was with? You see, we don't know who's in our country, and then the people we don't know in the country might launch a sleeper cell terrorist attack to prevent us from voting on Election Day. This should be the #1 news story in the country, and we can't get the Wall Street Journal to care. And the kicker is this. We let this person into America, and we celebrated it. We had nonstop, disgusting programming on many cable television programs. Oh, this is the best of America, allowing these Afghans into here. There could literally be hundreds of thousands of killers. Or hundreds or thousands. We don't know. Hundreds of thousands, hundreds or thousands. We don't know. Just waved right into the country on a special immigrant visa. But that is the Kamala Harris version of America. Kamala Harris wants America to be raped. And that's what we're experiencing. It's just open season. It is a looting operation. The country means nothing. And you allow in a bunch of foreigners, Afghans, doesn't matter if they want to do terrorist attacks. Diversity is our strength. Kamala Harris back in 2021 famously was bragging about this. She says, we are better than this. We're going to open our arms and allow as many people as possible. Well, how many Nasir Ahmad Tawhidis are in this country? How many? How many Nasir Ahmad Tawhidis are in our neighborhoods? Well, we don't know, and they don't want to know. So we might have to find out the hard way.